Seek it when? First. Okay. Well, you had to pause. That's a trick question. Seek me. I get this right. He's going to make fun of me if I don't get it right. I make fun of you because you paused. Well, hello, how are you? Now, Ray, I want you to do that.
I took his spot.
Just walk right over here right now. Heel! Is this that kind of church? Look at you! What can I say to anger you enough to walk over here? Step on my toe. My talk today is called Pray First for Wisdom. Probably should have said pray first for understanding, but it's the same story. It's my favorite story in the Bible, and it's about Solomon. But he first became king, or shortly after he became king. Right after he became king, he had to kill his brother, because that's what you do in the Bible. His brother was in competition with him, and so he had to kill him. That's just the way it is. And then he went up to Gibeon. Gibeon? Was it Gibeon? Gibeon. Yeah, Gibeon. I forget that. I get confused with the Bible. But he went up to Gibeon, and Gibeon means a place of sacrifice, but a sacrifice of the Most High. In your highest mind. You're going to sacrifice over what you don't need in your thinking and all that stuff. And God came to him in a dream. Lovely dream, and said, okay, King Solomon, 12-year-old King Solomon, what would you have from me? Well, Solomon's got to lead. He's got to lead a kingdom. And he says, you know, what I would like, your servant, is an understanding mind. I was like, really? Really? You want an understanding mind? You didn't pray for great riches? You didn't pray for me to smite all of your enemies? You know, you didn't pray for honor? You want an understanding mind? Well, yes, that is what I would like, because I figure that will serve me best to lead. And God says, you got it. And guess what comes with an understanding mind? Great riches, great honor, a new car, or at least a new mule. A horse-powered mule. Some nice new jewelry, you know. And this is what he wanted. And with the understanding mind comes the kingdom. With the understanding mind comes the kingdom. I love that. I just love that. And so it gave me such confidence to think, oh, I don't have to get all the stuff and then go to God. With God, all the stuff that is good comes to me or is revealed. And I will not be distracted by the stuff. Or at least one would think, if you read further, Solomon with his many wives, and he began to forget. He began to forget about the understanding mind, and he tried to control the world unto himself, and he was no longer the richest man ever. His riches and honor kind of went down the tubes when he forgot. But I want to look at the first part. Give thy servant an understanding mind. And that's how I began to pray when I learned about this. I sought the kingdom of God. I sought my relationship or my oneness with God, and I sought it relentlessly. In my early healing days, I mean, this is all, it really became all that I want. I was willing to quit smoking for it. You don't know. Maybe some of you do know what a sacrifice that is, because I loved smoking. Oh, it was fun. I don't recommend anyone start. Please don't start. I was a bachelor age when I started, so that's what's frightening. I was like 5th grade when I started smoking, because it was cool. Not to anyone else. Because let's face it, no 5th grader looks cool smoking a cigarette. There is no child alive that looks cool with a cigarette in their mouth. But the child doesn't know that. But when I was in my 30s, and I was praying differently, and I thought, I know The next wall that I have to become willing to take down is my smoke screen. Because I was so excited about knowing God. I was so thrilled of the God that I was knowing that it's okay, whatever. Whatever it takes, fine, if it means putting down cigarettes. And I loved myself through that process. Many of you have heard my process. I quit for a few weeks. I quit for a few months. I remember 3 months. I was standing at my job, because you could still smoke in every place then, and especially a nightclub where I worked. And I was standing in the back room before work, and I thought, before my show, and I had a cigarette in my mouth, and I had a match here and a quarter here to call someone to talk about this. And I lit the match instead of using the quarter. And so I was back to the races. With that night, I had 3 puffs. Thursday, I had 3 cigarettes. By Friday, I had a full pack, and by Sunday, I was back to 3 packs. I felt awful. Oh my goodness, I felt awful in the body, and I thought, I must have felt like this all the time before, and I didn't know it, because my body had acclimated since, doing that since I was so young. And then that October, and many of you heard the story, you're going to hear it again, live it up. I was in a hotel room in Atlantic City, and I was hearing the statement, as God is for me, nothing is against me. As God is for me, nothing could ever be against me. And I believed that the first time I ever heard it. That was logic to me. As God is for me, nothing is against me. Well, if that's the case, then cigarettes are not against me. Well, if they don't hate me, if they don't want me dead, then what's up? Because I used to hear that about alcohol in various places. And I heard, alcohol wants you dead. This disease wants you dead. And I thought, that can't be true. I could understand maybe it wants you miserable until you die, but I could not understand it wants to actually kill you. There's no logic in that. So alcohol's my friend. The people who treated me harshly were my friends. My mother, when I was a little child, was actually for me, not against me, even though all appearances were to the contrary. All appearances of so much of my life was to the contrary, that I was loved. But here I am with this statement in a hotel room in Atlantic City, of the Irish pub, no less. The Irish pub and inn on St. James Place. Anyway, I got down on my knees and I was praying about this. And I thought, as God is for me, nothing can be against me. And I suddenly saw it. I suddenly saw that all the alcohol, all the cigarettes, they got me here to where I was praying. They had been, I had no other tools. I had no other tools. All the gossip, all the criticism, all the living that I did, I had no other tools to survive. That was my light until I didn't need those tools anymore. And so I thanked them. And the cigarettes in particular, I had already stopped drinking, but I thanked them. I said, I held the cigarette pack. I said, thank you. Thank you for having been my friend. And it's October. And I'm going to put you down on October, or what do you call that, New Year's Day? January 1st. Our New Year's Day falls on January 1st. And I said, on New Year's Day, I'm going to let you go. Until then, we're allowed to have a party. But on New Year's Day, I'm going to let you go. So thank you so much for having been my friend and getting me here. And so I noticed I was smoking less. And then on New Year's Eve, I did 24-hour volunteer gig the night before, because I'm a giver. And I receive so much when that's why I did it. My friend Nancy and I used to do this all-night thing to help people. And I remember we went to breakfast at 7 in the morning at a diner, and at 8 o'clock, I'm walking across the street to my apartment, and I threw the cigarettes in the trash can and thanked them. And then I went home and I went to bed, and I slept till January 2nd. I slept 24 hours, and I woke up and I thought, God just gave me a free day. I better not smoke today, because I might never get a free day. It might be harder work the next time I try, and I've never smoked since, and it's been over 20 years. But it's because I wanted to know God. And that was my gratitude. Every time I wanted to go to the old habit, that was a lie at this point. It would not make me more attractive. It would not make me happier. It would not relax me. It would just block this newfound freedom I had found and this newfound love I had found. And so, was it a sacrifice? What did I sacrifice? Nothing. I sacrificed an old way of thinking that was no longer going to work for me. And I want to read what sacrifice is in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, because I did not memorize it. So, sacrifice, a refining process that is constantly going on in consciousness. Every thought and act of man sets free an energy that gravitates to its appointed place in the various realms of mind and body. The Lord, or the law, is the one universal mind which is the receptacle of all thought. If you have a thought of love and goodwill, you set free invisible emanations that are impregnated with these ideas, meaning giving a way to give birth to divine ideas. These ascend to a higher realm and form part of your soul, and at the same time relate you to the Lord, or the law, that is presiding over the soul of the race. This is the inner meaning of offering sacrifices to God. Everything in nature is going through this refining process, and there is a constant ascension of matter to mind and mind to spirit. We are taught that a period will finally come when the whole universe will be resolved back into its original essence in God. Mr. Fillmore, Unity's co-founder, says we must purify our mind and body in order that spirit may come to do the regenerative work. Some people think it necessary to cleanse the mind only and let the body take care of itself. Truth reveals, however, that we must in all ways fulfill the law of purity. Whoever defiles his body with impure thoughts, lustful passions, or decaying food will find his process retarded or slower. The burnt offerings of bullocks and sheep on the altar represent the transmutation of the physical forces to the next higher plane of action. This is a process of body refinement that pertains to those who follow in the regeneration process. The altar represents the place in consciousness where we are willing to give up the lower to the higher, the personal to the impersonal, the animal to the spiritual. The life forces of those living in generation flow to the generative center in the body and are spent in the material, and this brings death to the body. When through a sincere desire for things spiritual, man lifts its mind, there is a complete reversal of these life forces. Instead of a downward flow, the currents start toward the heart and a process of body rejuvenation begins. Then there is rejoicing in the man, and he sings praises. He sings praises. When we have faith in God and the ways of spirit, we are willing to give up all our material pleasures. Listen to this. I want to make sure you understand this. When we have faith in God and the ways of spirit, we are willing to give up all our material pleasures, if such be the instruction of the inner guide of spirit. You see, not everybody has to throw away all their stuff. That's not what it's saying here. It doesn't say hate your stuff, but listen to the guidance, the inner guidance of spirit. You know, I used to keep drawers full of things that no longer fit and were never going to look good, just so I could feel like I had a whole lot of stuff. And you know what happened? I got rid of all the stuff that I no longer felt good about myself with. And I still had a lot of stuff. There is also a point that is also symbolized by the sacrifices so often referred to in the history of the children of Israel, and I suggest you do your research on that history. And so, there is no good thing ever to be sacrificed, to be released. There is nothing good to be sacrificed. All the good is to keep. But seek ye first the kingdom. Seek understanding. Seek wisdom. Seek love. Seek what you know to be God and what you know to be good. And I'm really gonna ask you here. If your God needs you to be guilty, to be poor, to be ashamed, to be anything less than magnificent, please get a new God. Please get a new God. You have a lousy God. If your God is telling you you're bad, you're stupid, you're a fool, that's a mean God. That's your mother. That's somebody's mother. That is somebody. If it's not yours, it's somebody's mother. Telling you things that aren't true about yourself. If your mind is telling you you are less than magnificent, or and I know it's a hard one, if your neighbor is less than magnificent, believe me, I have a mind that tells me that sometimes. Or that your mother or your father, in truth, are less than magnificent. We're not talking about personalities here. We're talking about pure essence. When you are connected, when I am connected, I know the good in all. And that other stuff doesn't hurt my feelings nearly as much as it used to. But when I forget my connection, I will use my neighbor, I will use you, I will use my past, I will use my money, I will use anything I can to hate myself. I will use it all when I forget my connection. And that's why each day, seek ye first the kingdom, and the rest will be added unto you. God, I am willing to have understanding now. In my thoughts, in my mind, and understanding leads to wisdom. And wisdom, working with love, I can't lose. I can't lose. That which no longer works will fall away. And sometimes when it's fallen away, you think, oh dear Lord, they've taken my God from me. Well, they have. They've taken the God that doesn't work away from you. They've taken your lack. Oh no, my lack fell away. What am I going to do without my lack? I don't understand. Oh, my body just healed. Wait a minute. I have been hating this for years, whatever it is. You know, I don't care if it's a tumor. And suddenly it's gone. And I don't know what to do with this. I had to laugh. Our friend Carlos Anderson called me the other day. And I just heard the message yesterday, and he said, Shawn, I died this week. So, well, of course you did. You're Carlos. And he said I was getting a colonoscopy, and I died. And then I came back. Usually it's everybody around him who's dropping. He lives in a town. I'm surprised there's anybody left. So many. He's all, want to get together? I have to do a funeral today. Oh, you want to go to lunch? I have a funeral. Seriously. They're all dying in that town. And it's nowhere near here. But I died this week. And good news, I came back. There's no cancer. I'm completely healthy. And I said, well, check your dead zone. But outside of that, I thought, okay, how interesting. I died this week. This wants you to know. Talk to you later. All that doesn't work for us will fall away when we seek the kingdom, when we seek wisdom, when we seek understanding. All that doesn't work. And so if you feel like you're losing everything, oh no, it's all gone away. Where did it go? You don't need it anymore. You just don't need it. It's no longer your friend. It can no longer serve you. Thank it for having been your friend. But then release it. Our friend, our wonderful friend Solomon, went up to give in to the highest place and the willingness to sacrifice, to have a dream. To have a dream where in prayer he could seek his highest desire. He was safe at that moment to seek his highest desire in prayer. An understanding mind. Wisdom to rule his kingdom. I got news for you. Each and every one of us here has a kingdom, and it's called me. It's called you. You're your own kingdom. You're your own kingdom. Kingdom, 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 kingdom. All of us, we have a kingdom. And all the cities in this kingdom, which are our thoughts. And all the people in this kingdom, which are our thoughts. Because I got news for you. All of you are the people in my kingdom. And I have thoughts about all of you. None of them true. But I have thoughts about all of you, whether it's positive or negative. They're not true. They're just my thoughts based on my perceptions. And so I need understanding how to see all of you. I need understanding how to see all the cities of my kingdom. I need understanding how to deal with the wealth of my kingdom. I need understanding so that I don't try to figure it out myself. So that I don't ever again say, this is bad and I've got to figure out how to make it not bad. Make friends is what I have to do. I will do that when I bless myself with understanding.